This whole time I've let you believe that I just read weird books where sentient gingerbread men fall in love with time-traveling dinosaurs, and I do read that. But I also read nerd books. Like, really bad nerd books. I let you believe that I just get drunk and read Twilight, when in reality, my favorite book is a French existentialist play written in the 1940s by a moral philosopher. That's just like the worst thing ever to say. Why have I salaciously betrayed every single one of you? Well, I'm not gonna lie, I honestly figured that if I started talking about it, everyone would get bored, but no more. I read 63 books in 2025.
None of the gay fanfictions or trashy romance mangas you read are on this list.
That one I'm gonna continue to lie about, but the rest of my 2025 reading list will be exposed, real and raw, for your entertainment in convenient 30-second increments.
Why 30 seconds?
Because nobody cares about nerd books, so I have to actually try and make it interesting. Thank you. We are going to go in chronological order, going from the first book I read in the year to the last. So join me as we walk the path of literature I have personally killed together. My first read of the year was Grumpy Alien Santa, which honestly really does not help my case. I don't even remember enough to talk about it for 30 seconds. I think Grumpy Alien Santa was a species. No. I remember. The main character, her name's not important. She was an interplanet explorer or like scientist traveler thing, and she got this hot alien to dress up as Santa Claus for the kids. Why do I remember that? Marjorie Prime, how do I say this? Lured me into a warm embrace and then smothered me with my own sense of impending doom. You know when something hurts your feelings, but it does it in seriously the nicest way possible? That's all I can say without spoiling it. This one's so okay. It's a play protesting the South African apartheid, and 2 black South African prisoners are putting on a performance of Sophocles' Antigone. So the prisoners in the play are putting on a play about Antigone, who was an unjust political prisoner. And this was made and was being put on while the apartheid was actually happening. It's so good you need to read it. Warbreaker by Brandon Sanderson. Y'all can thank my mom for this. Genuinely the most fun I've had listening to an audiobook since 6th grade. Here's a picture of me listening to it while I brush my teeth. And then here's my favorite character dying. Right. The Language Archive. A man whose main job is to preserve languages on the brink of extinction, except he himself cannot communicate the fact that he loves his wife. And why is this important? Because his wife is actively leaving him. Crazy times. Every brilliant thing. Okay, close your eyes. Now picture me violently sobbing. Yeah, and I think you've just about got it. This play is basically about a boy who, when he was young, his mother attempted suicide, and his response to that as a kid was to just, plot out every brilliant thing he could think of to stop her from doing it again. And the play is just about, being resilient and finding love and just being together. Sickening. It's just sick. A Doll's House by Henrik Ibsen. This play was so controversial when it came out in the 19th century that they banned the ending. In early performances, the ending was censored because they thought it was an affront to the sanctity of marriage. The lead actress was straight up no. I'm not gonna play that ending. I'm not gonna do it. Because I would never do that. The ending of A Doll's House. And I know I'm going over time. Let me have this. The ending of A Doll's House. Nora goes, "I'm leaving you and the kids." She walks away. Her husband goes, Nora. And we think that maybe she'll come back. And then there's a door slam right off stage. She's gone. And people didn't like that because, oh my God, it's a mom leaving her kids. But mind you, the reason that she had to leave was because her concept of reality has been shattered. She doesn't understand how to be normal and exist in front of her kids anymore without scarring them. She's afraid that if she stays with her children, she's going to literally mentally damage them beyond repair because of her new worldview, because she now understands how the world works. Anyway, this was my second time rereading it. I TA'd for script analysis class. Read by John Logan. Make some noise. Yeah, cheer. Listen, I didn't like this book when I first read it. In fact, actually, you could say that I hated it, because I did. When I first read it, I believe I said, if I wanted to be yelled at by a white man for 90 minutes, I'd just go home for the holidays. But I understand, it's so much more complicated and complex than that. It's about Rothko and a fake painting assistant that never existed, but it's basically how different generations develop and how, like, art develops, and, you know, how sometimes, like, a lot of it is about Rothko dealing with the fact that he's sort of being usurped, because that's how art works. How in order to develop creatively and artistically, you sort of have to rebel to what came before. And Rothko knows that if the younger generation wants to take his place, they're gonna have to kill him and eat his artistic corpse. Did I say make some noise for Red? Make some noise for Intimate Apparel by Lynn Nottage! Man. The year's 1905, and Esther is a black seamstress in New York City. She's in love with a white Orthodox Jewish man who sells fabrics. They can never be together. And there's this scene where she's gripping onto his lapels, and they're just like looking up at each other, and they know, like, this is the closest that they can allow themselves to be with each other. It's depressing. They're all these plays. Everything I read is so depressing. The Crucible by Arthur Miller. I started this February 5th, and it took me until February 19th to finish it. Oh my, listen, I love Arthur Miller. Like, I really get down to his plays. But seriously? Oh my, what a melodramatic slog. And I can say that because he's dead. Like, I'm not gonna hurt anybody's feelings. Top Girls by Carol Churchill. Yay! I didn't understand this play. I mean, not really. Woo! Like, Top Girls is about what you lose when you break and defy those traditional gender norms. But there's so much more. There's so much more, and I don't get half of it. Angels in America by Tony Kushner. You've seen clips of this play.
Garlic! A mirror! Holy water! A crucifix! Fuck off!
Yeah. That's from Angels in America. Angels in America takes place during the AIDS crisis, and the main characters are a man who gets AIDS and then subsequently thinks he can talk to angels, his boyfriend who abandons him, an agoraphobic Mormon housewife, a closeted gay Mormon lawyer, and a drag queen. Angels in America Part 2. Yeah, it's two plays. I was reading this play as I was recovering from a situationship that was actively draining the creative life out of me. There's a scene with Harper, who's the Mormon housewife, and her husband, and she's literally going, "You're empty. You're empty, you're empty, and you're sucking the life out of me. You are empty." And the guy who I was having a weird thing with walks past me and goes, "Hey, what are you reading?" That clicked into place real quick. The Aliens by Annie Baker. This was a reread, and I think I might owe Annie Baker the biggest apology of my life. No, I slandered this play for 3 years. Like, I reread it, and I was like, oh no, not only was my take fucking abominable, I didn't even get it. I didn't get it to the point where I didn't even get that I didn't get it. Jaja's African hair braiding. So this plays about West African immigrants and basically the hair salon that they all work in. They're a community of immigrants, and the whole play is basically about to be in a place where you call home and you belong there, but there are certain people who don't want you there. Tally's Folly. I'm so happy that this ending didn't devastate me emotionally. I mean, it did, but in a good way. So Matt comes to visit Sally because he's like, "I'm in love with you and I know you're in love with me." And she's like, "I'm not in love with you." And he's like, "I just won't accept that answer because I know you are." Because she won't allow herself to love him, you know what I mean? And slowly he gets to her by like opening up and just like telling her like all these secrets about himself. And they finally like let each other love each other, and it's beautiful and I love it. Oleana by David Mamet. Somebody boo this guy. Boo. Boo. In the Shadow of the Glen by J.M. Singh, this girl's husband dies. And she's like, well, it's like I can't do anything with the body. Then the tramp comes in and is like, hey, can I like take a seat or something? And she's like, yeah, of course, come in. She leaves. Husband pops up. He's not dead. So the tramp is like, that's weird. Why are you pretending to be dead? And he's like, I'm trying to catch my wife in the midst of her affair. He lies back down dead. Wife comes back in. Bunch of shit happens, right? Then the girl's side piece comes in and is like, I heard your husband's dead. Let's get married. And then the husband sits up and he's like, I knew it. So then he's like, everybody get out of my house. So the side piece leaves, the tramp leaves, and then the wife opts to leave. Guess what her name was? Nora! That's right, it's all an allusion to Henrik Ibsen's dollhouse. It all comes back. Okay, this one is actually really interesting. So it follows a Mexican-American family, and the father kills himself. And how the whole family sort of deals with the gender roles that killed their father. And sometimes how in dealing with a tragedy, those toxic norms and ideologies get pushed out even more. Keeping with the theme of suicide, Night Mother by Marsha Norman. This one's nuts. So the daughter goes to the mom's apartment, is like setting up everything she usually does for her mom in the week. And then she's like, okay mom, we're gonna do all this stuff we normally do, and then I'm gonna go to the bathroom and shoot myself. It's about struggle, it's about love, it's about hope, it's about failure. It's like, So the whole play is the daughter saying, I'm gonna kill myself, and the mom's like basically just like grasping at everything to be like, no. Could never be me and my mom though. Y'all stay safe out there. Oh my god! On April 1st, what was I going through? Apparently on April 1st, I read all 81 chapters of Net, Punch. Oh, actually, I do remember this. Okay, hold on. Okay, so this dude got humiliated off of this platform, and he's like, I'm never playing again. But then obviously he comes back, because they all do. But he makes a female avatar this time so no one will recognize him. And then he catches that his rival has a thing for him in the female persona, and he's like, I'm gonna make your life worse. I do have to put a limit on how much manga I'll read, because I will never stop. I will never stop. It's so easy, and it's like eating potato chips, like just one after another, and it's 4 a.m, and I'm blind out of my left eye, and I can only taste it on the underside of my tongue. That's what happens. Pounded by produce. Why do y'all need 30 seconds of this? Go watch the video. That's 47 minutes instead. 2 priests turn into vegetables. Cook lady falls in love with them. Thruple. And I could get into the fact that it's sort of about like accepting yourself and throwing away like the self-denial part of religion, but I'm not going to. Go watch the YouTube video I so lovingly made for you. What, you don't want your dinner? You don't want to eat? Sorry, I don't mean to get aggressive. It just happens. Goodbye, Marianne is actually like the true story of the author being basically expelled from Nazi Germany as a child. Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are dead. You know when you're reading something and it has like a specific taste to it, and you're like, oh my god, like this is so annoying, like I'm reading this, but it's obviously trying to be something else. And then as you go on, you're like, oh no, this is the thing that everyone is trying to copy. I just read those first, so that when I read this, I thought, oh, you're trying to copy it, but it's actually like the thing that, does that make any sense? Rosencrantz and Guildenstern basically go on an adventure inspired by Samuel Beckett. It's about like free will, it's about like choice, it's about humanity, like, oh my god! Just read it! 39 Steps by Patrick Barlow. One huge Alfred Hitchcock parody that has 2 people in it, and it's live on stage. Sorry, it's like getting way too hot in here. Oh my god. Ugh. Here's another Henrik Ibsen play, Ghosts. Ghosts is about syphilis, but keep in mind this is the 19th century, so a lot of the facts that they have about syphilis is incorrect. Like, the son gets syphilis from the dad, but not the mom, because they're like, no, women can't get syphilis. So the son's brain is rapidly deteriorating because he has untreated syphilis. And the end of the play is him and his mother on stage, and he's saying, give me the son, mom. Give me the son. What he means by that is the pills that will help him commit assisted suicide. And his mom is standing there on stage like, I don't know what to do. And the curtain goes down as she's trying to make the choice. What do you do in that situation? Anyway, people don't do ghosts that much because we know that women can get syphilis now, so it's a little bit difficult to put on. The Children's Hour by Lillian Hellman, and I'll describe this as The Crucible, but with lesbians. I Wave the Rest of My Time. Spring Awakening. And y'all think the musical is crazy? The ending of this play, Melchior's best friend Moritz comes back from having killed himself. So much suicide, by the way, so sorry. And Moritz is like, Melchior, like, kill yourself, like, come be with me, it's so fun! And Melchior's like, really? But then the masked man, that's the character name, comes on stage, shoos Moritz away, and Moritz is like, actually, being dead sucks, and I wish I didn't kill myself. And that's how the play ends. I'm pretty sure the masked man is like the embodiment of adulthood, and I think that he's ferrying Melchior from childhood to adulthood, but I don't know. Baskerville, a Sherlock Holmes mystery by Ken Ludwig. I'll tell you why I read this. I wanted to be the hot, fun British woman who is in this play. And I did not get the part, so thanks for reminding me, I guess. Starter Villain by John Scalzi. Oh my god, it's not a play, the heavens rejoiced. So this guy's uncle dies, kicks the bucket, right? What this guy didn't know is that his uncle was actually a supervillain, and he now has to take over being a supervillain for his uncle. There's talking cats, there's talking unionized dolphins. It's so good. I followed John Scalzi on everything I could find after I read this. What an enjoyable reading experience! Witch by Jen Silverman. You know that loose feeling of misery that's like sort of almost dislodged in your chest, but not quite? Jen Silverman put it there. I have a video of me after I read this book. Roll the clip. Rockabye by Samuel Beckett. All that's on stage is a woman in a rocking chair. Everything else is completely black, like there's just a spotlight on her. And she's sort of rocking and listening to a pre-recorded version of herself. And it's all about sort of, as we slowly pursue death, the lonelier and lonelier you get, the more isolated by society you are. I'd say read it, but it's gonna give you an existential crisis. So maybe don't. The Playboy of the Western World by J.M. Singh. I liked this way more than I thought I would. There's so much to this one. Oh my god. Okay. Christy Mahone flees after killing his father to a random bar, where this girl Pegeen is there alone because her dad owns the bar. She's like, oh my god, you're super cute. I hate my fiance. Let's get together. So Christy's walking on air like, oh my god, all these women are in love with me. But his father comes back from the dead. Not actually dead. He just didn't kill him well enough. So he didn't die. Oh, I forgot to say that Christy has been telling people that he killed his dad. Like, all of these girls are in love with him because he's like, yeah, I killed my dad. And they're like, oh my god, wait, you killed your dad? So the dad comes back, he's not dead. Everyone's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. You didn't actually kill your dad? He's shunned by everyone, the whole town, even the woman he loves, and to try and regain their good graces, he attacks his father right there in the town square in front of everybody, and he dies. But the townspeople, instead of being impressed, right, they prepare to hang him in the town square. They're literally binding him so they can kill him. And who stops this? His dad, who's supposed to be dead, part 2. Literally wounded, dripping with blood, injured. He goes, what is wrong with you people? So the unhealthy father and son duo leave together, and then Pegeen's like, wow, I just lost the Playboy of the Western world. End credits. Fun fact, this play opened in 1907, and people rioted afterwards. Like, people were in the street upset because you see women's underthings. They didn't riot long, though. They literally rioted for, like, I think a week, and then they were like, actually, this play hits, I really like it. It's part of the Irish canon. My Fair Footman. I must have been hella mad when I read this, because it says here I rated this 1 star. And I literally never rate or log any of the mangas I read. I'm pretty sure this is about, like, a woman who dresses up as a guy, and it's like some historical thing. Man, I don't know. It wasn't good. Do we have to do this? Juno and the Paycock, stick with me here. The mom, Juno, the bum alcoholic dad, the soldier son, and the thought dog. All 4 of them are struggling because the alcoholic dad doesn't want to work and he just wants to be lazy. This guy Charles comes into the picture and he's like, actually, you guys just got a great sum of money because one of your relatives died. They are like, yay, yay. Mary takes a look at Charles and goes like, oh, you're cute. Let's start hanging out. They leave. Months later, Charles has disappeared. The money hasn't come and everyone's a little bit confused. Mary and Juno are talking and Juno's like, yeah, it's a real shame that Charles left. And Mary's like, yeah, it is a real shame because I'm pregnant and he's the father. Juno's like, okay, give me 1 second. Goes to her husband, goes, okay, like we need to move, like we need this money, like we need to get out of here to support our daughter. Alcoholic bum dad goes, there actually was never any money because Charles fucked up the paperwork and he fled in disgrace. Also, I'm disowning my daughter. The soldier son comes back because he's relevant and he has his own plot. And he's like, I'm disowning you too, sister. Don't get too mad at him though, because immediately after he is dragged off stage by his fellow comrades to be murdered because he sold out a soldier. Juno is with her daughter looking at her life that has literally just crumbled before her eyes. And she's like, I'm gonna run away with my daughter and leave my bum-ass husband. And that's a direct allusion to the ending of A Doll's House, baby! By the Bog of Cats by Marina Carr. It's a bloody, gory, genuinely insane retelling of Medea. No one can shock you on stage quite like her. Female revenge makes the best theater. Come and Go by Samuel Beckett. That's 3 women talking shit about each other on stage and you can't convince me otherwise. The Seafarer by Connor McPherson. It's like, it's so good. It's this guy playing a game of cards to literally win his soul. It's like, the isolation that just comes with the territory of being human, but how you can genuinely redeem yourself and become better, and how it's like low-key never too late to change. Human persistence, even if you're fighting an unwinnable battle against like fucking comedically evil forces. You aren't alone, and there are still people who root for you. Duck Duck Goose is interesting. It's about a man whose friend is being charged with assault. Like, we get to see the main character basically force himself into believing that his friend is a good person because of everything it means if he realizes that his friend isn't. Because if he believes that his friend isn't a good person, that means that he is a cog in this repetitive cycle of Duck Duck Goose. That was such a bad job of explaining it. The motherfucker with the hat. There's a character in this play that believes that anyone who you didn't grow up with, you can't really trust and you can't really know. Because something sort of happens to you once you grow up. And that time you spent becoming yourself with specific people, you're never going to be able to get that with anybody else. Side note, I'm having a really great time trying to make friends in my 20s. POTUS, or behind every great dumbass are 7 women trying to keep him alive. So funny. There's a character who eats a Tums thinking that it's a Tums. It's not. It's like an acid trip tablet. And then she runs around in her underwear while everyone's trying to like assassinate the president. And she's running around stage covered in blood while everyone tries to get a handle on the situation. And it's amazing. Cast me as that part, please. John by Annie Baker. You have to go read this, and I mean that in the way of, like, this was my reaction to it after I read it.
You're joking! You have to be joking!
And I can't take that away from you, so go and come back to me. Pretty Theft. Was it exactly my cup of tea? I'm pretty sure it's like a woman and she works at a mental hospital and this girl who's like sort of mean but cool befriends her, and so she goes down the wrong path, and then there's this guy and like something. I like, there was so much going on, I can't collect it for you. This is our youth. Okay, stick with me. It takes place in a 48-hour time period where a teen steals 15 grand from his dad and goes and kicks it at his friend's place. It's basically just an exploration of their adolescence, like their friendships, sexuality, and like death and being alive and like everything. The Imaginary Invalid by Moliere. Can I get a hoot and a holler for the 17th century? This guy's a hypochondriac and he has a medical bill list so long that he genuinely tries to marry off his daughter to a doctor so he can just like get free healthcare. Because he just wants to keep feeding into his medical anxiety even though nothing is wrong. Tigers Be Still. Interesting play. This town is on shutdown because a tiger is loose in the town, but shock and horror, the tiger is a metaphor for depression. It's not a real tiger. The Muckle Man. So I have a Word doc that I review literally every play I've ever read. Here's what I had to say about The Muckle Man. Why did I listen to that theater hipster and waste my time on this shit? I'm never trusting a so-called literate man ever again. It's not really that it's that bad. It was just frustrating and really sad. And I think I was having a really bad day when I wrote this, so don't take me. You might enjoy it, I don't know. Murder on the Orient Express. This is based off the book by Agatha Christie, and if you think you don't know the book, you actually probably do. Do you know that My Little Pony episode where they're on that train and they're like, who ate the cake? And it was like actually all of them? That's this. I remember being really frustrated when I finished this play because, so this guy dies and he's murdered. And spoiler alert for literally the whole thing. The guy who was murdered killed this young child for no reason. And 7 or 8 people who were affected by the murder of this child plan to get on a train with this guy and then lights out. And Poirot, world's greatest detective, obviously figures this out, and he decides not to solve the case. He decides to just like let the law enforcement draw their own conclusions. And he has this long monologue at the end, and he's like, did I do the right thing? Like, I don't know. And it's so annoying because yeah, obviously you did the right thing. Nobody's gonna feel bad that the guy who murdered the 7-year-old girl got what was coming. In Search of Mothman, and I'm just going to read you a direct quote of what I read after I was finished. I don't know, it just started to piss me off halfway through when I realized nobody actually gave a shit about Mothman. Rhinoceros by Eugene Ionesco. Right. The play starts with two guys just like hanging out, and then a rhinoceros runs through. They're like, whoa, how did this rhinoceros get here? Did it break out from a zoo? There are no zoos nearby. This is the 1940s. Then they start realizing that the people are turning into rhinoceroses. Rhinoceri? Rhinos. It was at this point where I realized that rhinos are probably being used as a metaphor for being a Nazi. Because it was written in the 1940s. So as the rhinos start to take over like the airwaves and the telephone, our main character starts going, God, I really wish I could be like them. And he tries to become a rhino too, but it's not working. It isn't happening. And then he snaps out of it and he gives a monologue about how great it is to be human or something. I don't know. All I do know is that there are big rhino puppet heads like all across the stage as this is happening. And oh my God. Phaedra by Jean-Baptiste Racine. Let's hear it for the 17th century once again. This is crazy. Stepmom, dad. Stepmom wants stepson so bad that she literally exiles him from the country. She's like, you can't be near me. Dad goes off somewhere, dies. She's like on her deathbed. She feels so bad about the fact that she's in love with her stepson. Then her maid's like, you can go for the stepson now because the dad's out of the picture. She's like, oh my God, wait, this is a great idea. She goes and tries to like seduce her stepson, and the stepson is like, this is freaky. Mind you, the stepson is literally like, that is so embarrassing. I'm literally never going to be able to tell anyone that because that is so embarrassing. So the stepmom's like, oh my God, like I'm going to go die of shame. BRB. She can't die though because the dad, turns out he wasn't dead like she thought. He comes back. I have to trick my husband before my stepson rats me out for flirting with him. She tells her husband that the stepson made the move on her first and she denied it. He's, what? Goes to talk with his son. The son doesn't tell his dad that the stepmom made the moves on him because he's like, that is going to disgrace him so bad, like I'm not going to. The dad is so upset with his son that he exiles him again and then calls up beep, 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 one of the most bloodthirsty gods for a favor and is like, hey, can you kill my deadbeat son for me? He tried to get with my wife. And when the dad finds out that it was actually his wife that made the moves on his son, he's like, wait, you actually killed him though? Anyway, most of them end up dying. Mr. Wolf by Rajiv Joseph. A little girl was kidnapped by this guy named Mr. Wolf. It's not going there, don't worry. He basically tells her that she's a prophet and that she's going to be able to communicate with God through the stars. The cops find him. He's like, hey girl, you gotta go out into the real world now. Peace. And basically it's this girl realizing that she's not really a prophet and she never really believed that she was a prophet. I think it's really interesting if you look at it through the lens of tortured artists, because it's almost saying that there's something more special about not buying into the narrative that you're special because people hurt you. The Skin of Our Teeth by Thornton Wilder. Why do we even bother with Our Town when we have this one? This one is so much cooler. This one is so much more fun. It's about like war, bouncing back from immense suffering, humanity. The two characters are literally Adam and Eve from 3,000 years ago. The Piano Lesson by August Wilson. This was not my favorite August Wilson piece, but it's a damn good one. Fat Ham by James Imes. I got so excited reading this play. I was genuinely like I want to rip up some floorboards with my teeth. So we're in the South, we're in someone's backyard, and like the plot of Hamlet just like starts loosely happening. Juicy's dad, who is Hamlet, literally strolls in and he's wearing a sheet. Juicy's like, why are you wearing a sheet? And he was like, well, I wanted you to know I was a ghost. And he's like, well, I would have known you're a ghost. You're my dad and I know you're dead. There's a point where they address the audience and they're like, well, we know that they're expecting like bloodshed and death, but we're not gonna do that. And I've said this before, but there is something so beautiful about having black and brown bodies on stage and then having those characters look the audience in the eye and go, actually, no, we're not going to die. And it ends in this beautiful celebration of being alive and queer and yourself. Like, how do you top that? Cyrano de Bergerac, written in 1897. Cyrano is this quick-witted swordsman. He's a poet. He's literally everything. He's just ugly. He has a comically huge nose, and that's seriously the only problem he has. He's in love with this girl. The girl's in love with another guy. So Cyrano's like, I'm gonna help you guy get with her because my nose is big and I have no self-confidence. It's like 300 pages. I can't do this in 30 seconds. My favorite part was when he falls from a branch and a guy turns around and goes, where'd you fall from? He looks up and says, the moon. Eureka Days by Jonathan Spector. A school has the outbreaks of the mumps. And they have to basically decide how they're going to steer their community when they realize that half of them are anti-vaxxers. I think it's beautiful. It's great. It's coming to Chicago. I'll be there. Prayer for the French Republic. The 5 Chuck Tingle books I read for last video. Do I have to talk about them? I honestly do not think I can say that I read those books, because I do not remember half of them, which is why I can't explain them to you right now. And last but not least, The Odd Couple by Neil Simon. I have a newfound respect for Neil Simon after this play. I didn't think it was gonna be that funny. It's basically about 2 guys who are divorced, and then they move in with each other, and then they sort of like become each other's wives. I don't know, it's like all about like masculinity in society and all that. It's really funny, you should read it. Comedies are much harder to explain than Greek dramas. And we're done. That's everything. Minus the plays that I couldn't log on Goodreads because they weren't available, and also all the gay fanfiction I read, and also all the mangas. But I mean, other than that, we've touched everything. Let me know anything you guys read in 2025 that you liked. Also, if you're going to read anything on this list, if I convinced you in any way, shape, or form, let me know. Please, I just want to talk about books and plays all the time, so just like, yeah, let me know. Like, let me know if you like read anything, and we'll talk about it.